All right, good morning, Rotary District 7770, and welcome to Conversations with Rotary Action People for Monday, March 21st, 2022. Happy spring, everyone. My name is Donald Hovis. I am your CWRAP host from the Chicora Rotary Club in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're very pleased to be joined today by Leah Avery McCamy. She is from the Columbia area of South Carolina. Happens to be family in kin with Miss Mary Gask, who will be leading today's interview. But here's a little information and bio on Leah, our speaker. Leah started Shift Staging and Design in 2018 after being forced to stage a house for a friend in real estate. Shift has more than doubled their business with each passing year, staging 94 houses in 2021. They are an all-female team with inventory to stage approximately 25 houses at one time. Last week, the Shift team was honored to stage an historic Columbia home to be featured in the May issue of the Columbia Metropolitan Magazine. Their company goals include a growth model to expand Shift to other areas of the Carolinas. I do hear Mr. Ken in the background there, Mary. But without further ado, Mary is actually going to lead the rest of the presentation with Leah. But Leah, thank you for being with us and welcome to CWRAP.
I can't do it.
Thank you. Thanks,
Hey
everybody.
guys, I'm sorry. I was trying to get my daughter-in-law to join this call. She can look at it on Facebook under District 7770. I can't write it down right now, Ken. I'm in the middle of this. Sorry. Hey, too many things going on at one time. I apologize. Okay, we're going to do this as an interview. Leah gave me some questions, but I have some others to ask her as well. And if you have any during this interview, please put them in the chat box and we will be sure to get to you. So first question is, what is staging?
So first of all, thank you for having me today. A lot of people ask that question, including realtors. And the best way I have found to answer that question is if you've ever seen Fixer Upper, which I think everybody in America has at least once. At the end of that show, when they make it look like Joanna Gaines is, you know, putting the lemons on the shelves and doing all the things, she is actually staging the house. And that's what gives the people the wow factor when they walk in the house at the end of the show. It would be a completely different result at the end of that show if there was not furniture and, you know, pretty plates on the table and art on the walls. So that's one of the ways I like to answer that question. It gives people, if you're listing your home and you want people to have a real wow factor when they walk in the door, that's what staging can do for them.
Sorry, guys. Okay.
I'll help you out, Mary. I'll ask the next question while you do that.
I got it. How much does it cost to stage, Leah? I'm so sorry. How much does it cost to stage?
That's okay. So one of the challenges for us is to be able to answer that question quickly. And it's kind of a tricky one to answer fast because it depends on a lot of things. It depends on the size of the house. It depends on how many rooms you want to stage. But on average, staging costs around $500 per room. And that is for 90 days. So if we staged a house today, the person paying for the staging, sometimes it's the realtor, sometimes it's the homeowner, has access to the furniture for up to 90 days. Now, we all know in this market, they don't need it for 90 days unless something is not quite right. Some of our $1 million+ listings, at least in Columbia, are on the market for a little bit longer. But what I like to tell people is you have the access to the furniture for 90 days. So if we stage today and you get a contract this weekend, that doesn't mean we're on the way to pick the furniture up. Most of our realtors want to leave the furniture in the house until right before it closes, because sometimes things go sideways with loans and appraisals and inspections and all of those things. So even though it is a quick turn right now with this crazy market, we are still leaving our furnishings in the home until the realtor gives us the go ahead to pick it up. And sometimes that's the day before staging. I mean, before closing. Sometimes it's the day of closing.
So when you stage a house, do you stage every room in the house, or do you just pick a few that you stage?
So the statistic is that when a potential buyer walks through the front door of a home, within 8 to 10 seconds, they're already thinking, this could be the one, or this is not the one. So we want to get them early, you know, so we're going to focus on staging the rooms that they're going to see first. If they're walking into a home with a foyer that has a formal dining room to the left and a formal living room to the right, those rooms we have to get them early to impress them with those rooms. We don't stage a lot of kids' bedrooms just because people don't typically have a difficult time trying to figure out what to do with a kid's room. So the main rooms that we stage are going to be main floor rooms, and then usually the master. If the master's not on the main floor, we almost always stage a master.
And you said earlier that the payment for the staging could come from the realtor, or it usually does come from the realtor?
Sometimes the realtor pays us for the staging, because a lot of them like to include that in their listing packages. If they're competing for a listing, they'll offer that as a perk. Sometimes they split the cost with the homeowner for staging as another perk, you know, if they're competing for the listing. And then sometimes the homeowner pays for it. It really kind of just depends. But we do not take payment for staging at closing. That's a question that we get a good bit, because a lot of times people are preparing, you know, to make money at closing, and they'd like to wait to pay us then. But the risk involved for us with that scenario is too great.
Now, right. Now, you said you could stage 25 houses at one time. Do you rent furniture, or do you have a warehouse that you put all your furniture in and you just buy it up and stock it?
We have a warehouse that fits everything as long as we have 15 staged at once. Our warehouse tends to shrink. But thankfully we usually have at least 10 to 15 houses staged at one time. Obviously the furniture kind of revolves in and out as things change. But we do not rent our furniture. All of our inventory is ours. That way we
ever
can
sell any of the, I mean, does a homeowner come in and say, I want to buy this house, but I want the furniture that's in there? Do you sell it?
Yes. Well, depends. That happens a lot. Actually, it's a blessing and a curse for us to sell our furniture. It's always a huge compliment that they want to buy it. We love it when that happens. But the tricky part for us is that if we sell the furniture to them, we have to replace it. And so it's getting better, but during COVID, we couldn't get things quick enough to sell our inventory. And of course, that's when everybody wanted to buy it because they couldn't get things either. So that's kind of it's a blessing and a curse for us. But we do sell our pieces, especially if it's something that we've used a few times, because all of our work is photographed through real estate photographers like Donald. So we can't take the same pieces all over Columbia. And, you know, I never want someone to walk into one of our homes and say, oh, I just saw all this same stuff last week, you know? So selling it is a good way for us to keep our inventory turned, you know, and so we can keep things fresh. But our favorite way to do that is through a warehouse sale, which we try to do twice a year.
Yes.
And Aunt Mary helps us. She's the door lady, the payment lady.
There are a couple of questions here. How many and which rooms do you normally do? I think you answered that with, you know, the first ones that you walk into.
Yes.
When you say you move furniture in and out, what happens to the owner's furniture?
So that's a great question, because there are actually 3 levels of staging. One, if you're a realtor and you've just competed for this listing, it's really hard for you to come in and tell the homeowner that their dining room isn't ready. So a lot of times realtors will hire us to just come in and do a consultation. It's $95 for an hour. and we can effectively sort of be bad cop for them. And we write up an entire list of things that they need to do to get their house ready. So a lot of times that just alleviates some of the stress from the realtor. The other level of service is that maybe their dining room table is okay, but their chairs and their rug and everything else isn't great. So we will actually come in and mix our furnishings with theirs. So that would be a partial stage. And I have a few before and after pictures of ways that we can do that and really make a big impact.
You want to show those now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, let's do some before and afters.
Do this screen share. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Let's see. So I think we've already touched on this. We're a full service staging company in the Midlands where it's an all female staff. We own our furniture and our warehouses in West Columbia. This is just a little snippet of what our warehouse looks like from time to time. Can you guys see this video?
Yes.
Lots of furniture.
I love her warehouse sales.
So that's just kind of a glimpse of, I have a professional organizer on our team and she hates that video. She's like, oh my gosh, the warehouse looks terrible. Don't show that to anybody. But that's real life. That's how it looks. Sometimes it's really full and sometimes it's not. Let's see. There's our truck. We call her Big Cheryl. We drive her, we pack her, we unload her, we back her up. You guys wouldn't believe the times that we pull up and the husband comes running out the door to try to park our truck for us, which is really sweet, but we got it.
But also tell them too that you girls take everything on and off that truck.
Yes, we do. We do. Big Cheryl is good to us. She's never gives us any problems, thank goodness. We kind of already talked about staging and then the 3 levels of the service that we offer. So let's look at some before and afters. Okay. So this picture on the left, this was a $650,000 home. And as soon as you walk through the front door, this was what people would see. This was a surgeon who had inherited this dining room table from his mother and just couldn't give it away, but they didn't necessarily want to move it to their new home. So we told them, just leave the table there, we'll work around it. So this is what it looked like when we got there. And then the picture on the right is how it looked when we left. So
Did you keep the table?
We used his table. That's the same table.
But
We
did
just
you keep it afterwards?
What's that?
Did you keep it afterwards?
No, they actually moved it.
Okay, gotcha.
Hold on, my email is invading. Can you guys see my email?
Nope. We see the before and after.
Okay, I don't know why that's on the screen. Okay, this is just another little foyer area where the furniture on the left belonged to the homeowner. I included this picture because there are 2 colors that we eliminate from people's furnishings for staging. They are red and orange. Can anybody guess why? Football colors. If you have a bunch of red in a house, first of all, Donald, I would like your take on this, but red is hard to red doesn't photograph well. A lot of people are turned off by the color red.
You're exactly correct.
Yes. So whenever there's red in the scenario, we try to eliminate it as much as we possibly can. And the same thing with orange. If you've got a diehard Gamecock fan and they're walking into a room with orange accents or furnishings or walls or any of that, you could lose them. It sounds crazy,
agree with
but
that.
people are nuts about their football around here.
I agree.
So that's kind of why I included that picture. We have to keep it in mind a lot. And anytime we do consultations for people, we tell them, if you have a sports team, take all of your stuff down, because the people coming into your home may not like that team and you could lose them. So that's always an interesting scenario to me. This is another one where these people actually moved in the middle of COVID. They had to move back to Canada and they didn't take any of their furniture. So we brought in our rug, our draperies, our accessories, and basically used everything they had and just added pillows, lamps, art to make it feel more homey. And then at the end, they gave us all their furniture, which was really nice. We just moved our stuff out with theirs. Here's another example of when we're staging, we have to keep in mind pathways that people take when they're touring the home. If the pathways are tight, it makes the house feel small. So that's an element of this whole thing that we have to constantly keep in mind. So in this scenario on the right, they had this beautiful buffet, but number one, it made the room dark. And then secondly, it was really, really close getting through that section of the room. So we moved that to a different room, added a smaller table with lights and a mirror to reflect the light. And it makes the room feel so much bigger. So those are little tips and tricks that we put in place when we can, because buyers these days want to walk into bright, clean, light spaces. So we have to keep those things in mind when we're staging. This is another one where the dining room walls were gorgeous. They left a mirror and art that we just worked around. You know, we use very neutral furnishings, a lot of white upholstery, which looks beautiful. And I think that's one of the interesting things about staging is that everybody wants white upholstery, but everybody's terrified because if you have pets and kids, forget about it. So it's just another way that we're able to make a room look really neutral and pretty and different from the way it may look at your own home. So this was one of our favorite dining rooms just because of the color, but we couldn't add more color to it. We had to just treat it, you know, with neutral fabrics. So a lot of people, again, have really dark, large furniture. So this is a situation where the room was incredibly dark and they didn't want to paint. So we came in and just replaced it with furniture that is a lighter scale. It's visually, doesn't take up as much space. And again, lots of white bedding, you know, just cleaning up a space. We do have some realtors that will call us if there's a house that they're about to list that needs to be painted, just not for repairing holes in the wall or anything, but just painted due to the fact that the colors may not be fresh and up to date. They will have a stage rather than hire and wait for a painter sometimes, because we can make a difference with our furnishings. Like we just had a little house in Rosewood that we staged. The entire house was yellow and the painting estimate was twice what the staging estimate was. So they staged it and it still sold, and the people were able to move up their timeline and they didn't have to paint the house. So that's just another way that we can move the dial for realtors. This was a really beautiful renovation that we did in downtown Columbia. These people took a 1-story house and made it a 2-story house, and really they went all out on this one. But they hired us to stage it. It was another one that they knew they were going to sell almost immediately, but they also knew if they staged it, they were going to get better offers and faster and sell the house for more money. So there are tons of statistics about how staging can help bring more money. And it's because you really are putting your best foot forward with the house, and people can visualize where the sofa should go, how big should it be. Whenever we can stage with a king bed, we always, if there's room for a king bed, we're going to put a king bed in the master, because so many people love their king beds. And if they walk into a master and it's not a king, if it's staged with a queen, then they may assume the king's not going to fit, and then you lost them. Because if you're used to sleeping in a king, you're probably not going back to a queen, you know, for any house. So if a king will fit and still look great, that's what we're going to stage with. We also do not stage with blow-up mattresses. Blow-up mattresses are way more convenient because they're easier to carry and they're very lightweight, but they deflate sometimes. And what a nightmare it would be if you paid us to stage your home and we wowed you and then you walked into the master and the bed's flat. I just have terrible nightmares about that scenario. So we always, always, always stage with mattresses. Now on a king, there might be 4 twins under there so that we don't have to carry one huge king mattress, but it's still gonna look like a bed. And unless you sit on it, you're not gonna know that it's not 4 twin box springs. So that's another thing I always like to point out. Sometimes realtors want to argue with me on that and say, no, let's just do a queen so the room doesn't feel small. And that's not the way to go. If a king will fit and look great, even if your side tables have to be smaller, you should go with king. So again here, super neutral colors. The name of the game is pleasing the masses. So we always stage with grays, light blues, greens. Those colors are appealing to men and women. They aren't closely tied to sports teams, and they look great.
Leah,
So-
here's a question for you.
Okay.
Do you always bring your aesthetics in? And I guess what I'm thinking about is if it's a country house or a country style or vintage, do you put older country style furnishings in there? I mean, you wouldn't go modern. So
Right.
how do you
So-
know which way to go on that?
One of the things that we like to do in those scenarios, because it does happen that way, that the style sort of, I mean, the home sort of comes with its own style. We try to mix a little bit of the style that the home has given us, but then we're also trying to like add a little bit of other flavor in there. You never want to go all the way on any style, because if you have someone coming to see that house who has plans to change it all, then you don't want to go too far to the style of the house. I don't know if that makes any sense, but we try to give it a good mix of, you know, more of a transitional look that can kind of go either way. Like for example, in this picture, this bed, it could be argued that this bed is more of a modern style because it's very square. It's very, you know, there's no engraving or anything like that. But the chest that we put with it has a little more of a traditional feel. And then, you know, the colors feel a little more modern. So we're constantly, and then, I mean, there's a silver cowhide rug on the floor. So, I mean, you know, that's not traditional at all.
Do you ever use expensive antiques? That's a question that's been asked.
So we always have to keep in mind the weight of the furniture. We have so many people that want to sell us their gorgeous armoire from so-and-so, and it weighs 3 tons. And and I know it would be beautiful in homes, but if we have a piece of furniture like that, that's really heavy, it makes what we do complicated. So I always ask, how heavy is it when people have things that they want to sell us to stage with? But we do like to mix antiques in because it does help with that. You know, if we're staging an old home downtown, you know, sometimes it calls for that type of furniture.
Okay. There's another question on here that someone wants to know your background. How did you acquire the knowledge for background staging?
So I'm glad someone asked that, because the story is interesting in terms of I was forced. Like in the bio, when Donald said I was forced into staging because I used to do interior design work, and I have a friend who's a realtor, and I did countless houses for her personally. She moved all the time, and every time she moved, I would redo her house. She called me one day in a panic and she said, I need you to stage a house. And I said, what is that? I don't know what you're talking about. And she said, you just do exactly what you do at my house. You go buy beautiful furniture. You got to make the house look big and bright and spacious and make everybody want the house. And she asked me countless times to do this for her, and I just continued to say no. And then one weekend, my brother-in-law came to the house. I think it was Easter, and he's an appraiser. And he walked into our house and he goes, Leah, you should stage houses. And I thought, you're the second person. If you've ever been in that situation where you start to go, the universe is telling me something here, because then one of my months went by and another one of my girlfriend's moms came over and said the same exact thing. So I finally thought, okay, you know what? And so I called my realtor friend back and said, the next time you have one that you need staged, let me know. And so she did. She was like, I got one now. And so I did it for her, and I absolutely fell in love with it because it's instant gratification. Where interior design takes months and months and months, this, we walk into an empty home and by the end of the day, it is finished. Pictures on the wall and it looks fantastic. And we get to do what we want. A lot of times with interior design, people hire you they want you to do this room, but my husband won't let me hang anything on the wall, or my husband doesn't want a rug in here because he doesn't want to cover up the hardwood floors, or my wife won't let me hang the TV over here. So what do you want to do? You know, there with interior design, there's always some sort of obstacle that you have to work around, which is fine. But with staging, we get to do what we want to do, and it's so much fun.
And the other thing is you also were an artist.
Yes.
I guess you still are an artist, but you used to do a painting. She would even do those for some of the interior design clients that she
Yes.
had. She would.
I haven't done that in a while, but I do miss it.
Another question is, how do you hang pictures so you don't leave holes? And do you only work in the Columbia area?
Great question. So we do have a lot of clients who have painted the home and they don't want nail holes, and we completely understand that. So we do have a lightweight artwork that we can use command strips with. I'm going to be honest with you, I do not love doing that because they don't always hold. A lot of times we will beg to use little nails that don't leave huge marks, and as long as the artwork's lightweight enough, those are fine. So that's usually what I push for, is to be able to use the smaller nails. We do also have larger artwork where if they're just adamant they don't want anything on the walls, we can lean larger pieces, especially on mantles, you know, and on chests and things like that. For the most part, people say, you know, go for it, do whatever you want to do. But we are always aware of that, and we try to use super tiny nails.
Okay. Are you just in the Columbia area?
Yeah. Okay. We have staged in Augusta, Charlotte a few times. We actually have one in Charlotte coming up. That's an 8-room stage. So that'll be 2 trucks. That'll be a big job. But we'd love to expand. That's sort of that's the long-term goal with this whole thing, is, you know, to have more than one truck and to take the show on the road. Because effectively we can do this wherever there is real estate. So that's everywhere.
Another question is, do you do this for individuals at $95 an hour to come in and look at their house and tell them what they need to do?
Yes. Yes, we will do that. Usually takes an hour. We'll come in, I bring one of my teammates with me, and we'll take pictures, we'll take notes, and then we'll email everything to either the realtor or the individual. Because what starts to happen, we'll go room by room, and if you just are telling people your advice as you walk through, it's hard to remember, you know, what we said at the beginning of the hour. So we do take the time to type it all up and submit it back. We also, if there's a realtor involved, and usually there is, we send the report to the realtor, and then the realtor can send it back to the homeowner, because we have had times where people have said, the stager told me to leave that wall red. And I'm like, no, we did not. And so this way, everybody's on the same page. the realtor knows what advice we gave them, and it just works better that way.
Okay, that's all the questions I've got. If you want to keep going
I think
slides or.
oh, this was the last slide because it's my favorite.
Oh, gosh.
We have a lot of people ask us, if I only need the furniture for 2 weeks, is the price lower? And I always have to tell them, the work that we're going to do, whether you have the furniture for 2 weeks or 6 weeks, is the same. We are going to come in, fully set up the house, and then when you're ready for it to go away, we're going to come pick it up. So the price is the price. We suggest that you not have us pick it up after just a few days. Let it stay there until the loan is about to close, which is what most people do. But we do have some people that want us to give them a better deal if they don't need the furniture for very long. But our workload is the same. So
If you want to take the screen share off, I do have another question for you.
okay.
When you stage these houses, are the people sometimes still living in the houses? So they live with your staged
Yes.
furniture?
So that would be a partial stage. Sometimes they are still living there, and we don't love that scenario, but there are a lot of stagers in town that won't do that. So we say yes to that. Are we going to bring them our white brand new sofa if they have kids and dogs? Probably not. We're still going to make their space look great, but we want to see our stuff again.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
So yeah, those are tricky, but we do them all the time.
Okay. Let me see if we have, I don't see any other questions. Anything else anybody wants to ask? You can open up your mic and just ask the questions. Jamie has asked, do people ask to keep pieces? So I think you addressed that earlier, but if you'd go ahead and address that again.
They do. We will sell our pieces. We have to sell them in a way that allows us to replace them. And that's my nice way of saying, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's staged furniture, we can get this for nothing. And depending on the piece, sometimes they can. If we've used it a lot and it needs to go to a new home, then it saves us from having to lug it back into the truck. But for the most part, we just have to price things so that we can get more.
The deals are when you come to the warehouse sales that she has.
Yes.
Yes. I do have to tell y'all, she has 2 sons, and it's not unusual, and a husband. So it's not unusual when she first started off for them to come home from school and from work and find furniture missing out of the house that she could use to stage a house. I mean,
like the entire dining room table. And it got to a point where they wouldn't even ask anymore. Just, it'll be back. Like, I don't know.
Or Dax had to sleep on the floor for a while because there was no bed in his room.
I needed his bed. It's like, hey, we're going to camp. Camping.
Mary, I have a question.
Okay.
Leah, do you come into homes and do staging for people just because they want it? They like your ideas. They've seen it perhaps. Do you do that?
We do. We do that. Where we have to draw the line with people, though, is if they want us to help them shop for certain pieces, like say they are looking for a special bed or some sort of sofa, that's the part that gets to be way too time consuming for us. So we have staged for people, but we almost have to have them agree that if we're bringing stuff in, they're open. Like, we'll help you, but we're going to stage your house and we're going to bring you what we think is right. And you have to be good with that. And so sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't.
And when are those sales? Twice a year?
We try to do them twice a year. COVID made it weird because it takes, we don't keep the warehouse in store neat level it's usually a madhouse in here. So to have a sale, it takes us a few days to price things and make it look nice and get everything ready. So during COVID, we were scared to put that much time aside because we weren't sure if 2 people were coming or it got really weird. but now that things seem to be getting back to normal, I mean, we want to have a sale, and we go to market to buy a lot of stuff. When the showrooms in Atlanta flip their furnishings over for the next season, they sell all that stuff, and it's cash and carry, which is a blessing and a curse, because then you're in Atlanta in a box truck, which is downtown, which is not fun, but it's a great time to get deals on things that you're not going to walk into Home Goods to see. So that market's coming up in May. So ideally, we would love to have a sale before May. But this is also, spring is when real estate really gets cranking even more than it has been. So
if you're interested in knowing when she has a warehouse sale, let me know and I will keep you posted. They're a lot of fun, and there really are some really good deals.
Is it advertised? The
put it on our Instagram page.
Instagram? Okay.
We got Facebook hacked. So if the hackers are listening, thanks a lot, because we have no page. But anyway, it'll be on our Instagram page.
Lou wanted to know how many people are on your team.
So there's me and two other ladies. Mackenzie, I've known for longer than I'll admit. She used to work on private yachts. So when we set dining tables, she does all those cool napkin folds, you know, and she knows how to do all that fun stuff. And then Wendy I've known for over 20 years. She and I used to work together a long time ago. She rides horses on Mondays and Fridays. So she calls this her fun job, but she outworks all of us. The woman is a worker. So yeah, it's just the three of us. We do hire movers if we have a 7 or an 8 room stage. That's just too much for us to do, especially day after day after day.
I have seen these girls move a 300-pound table, that monster that you had.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have those those straps that you can wear, like to move appliances and crazy things, and they really do work. I mean, we've had grown men say, "There's no way you're getting that out of here," and I'm like, "Stand back." So here we go. So.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, I got one. How much competition is there for something like staging in Columbia area? I mean, are there like 3 of you, or are there like 50 of you?
So there are different levels. There are a few people in town that have staging inventory, and if you call them and all of their furniture is out, they'll tell you that, you know, right now I don't have anything, and that's it. I will go get the furniture from somewhere. I'll take it out of my own house. Like we will get the job staged. There's only really one other company that I know of that has the amount of furniture in Columbia that we have. That company will not do partial stages, meaning if the person is living in the house, they don't use their furniture in those scenarios. So as far as I hear from our competition, I think those are the 2 biggest things that set us apart. Is that we will do those partials, and we will never tell you that we don't have, you know, our furniture is never all out.
Leah, I know that when Lindsay was working with you, that you would come into my store, Main Street Home.
Yes.
And to buy furniture that we had that you could use.
Yes.
Yeah.
We buy it anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
We loved it. I haven't been to the new spot.
Yeah, we're at 1711 Lake Murray Boulevard.
Okay.
Yeah,
I need to come to
the Eagle
spot.
One U-Haul place, the big storage place that used to be almost antiques.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we open in the summer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm coming back.
All right, come on down. Wednesday through Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's great.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Leah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very,
Thank you.
very informative. We appreciate your being on
Very
here.
good.
And
Very good.
there's some
Thank you.
people that want to know when you're going to have your warehouse sale. So let me know. I
Okay.
will let them know.
I'll put it on our Instagram page too. It's Shift Staging Design.
Okay, that sounds
Yay.
great. And
right.
I'll send out this video to you, and it'll be up on the our YouTube channel. So I'll send you that when we get it all set up.
Thank you.
So thank you
Thank
all for joining us.
Thank you.
Leah. I
Thank you.
appreciate it so much. And if we will all